about the rap. Look at me, I take a crap, got this amp.
I feel like you'd be a pretty good freestyle guy.
Oh, I used to do a couple things when I was a kid. Used to try it out. I can flow, but you know, they used to call me Sugar Free. That's actually a good rapper. You ever heard of Sugar Free? Sugar Free out of Cali.
How'd you pen that? Did you just
hold it down?
All right, what's going on, fam? Let's give a little introduction. The Cuban Missile Crisis. What's going on? This episode of the PP Show today. It's pretty much the P Show because my co-host is not able to join me on the podcast. That's okay though. I've been super excited. One, to get this ramped up, and two, to really kick it back off with a guest that I kind of was talking to Saul about having you on a long time ago, even before we met. And that guest is Julian Marquez, the Cuban Missile Crisis MMA fighter in the UFC. I've had a lot of people say they know you, and that's probably the first podcast guest that we've had, you know, some notoriety with the guest, and I'm just excited a lot. MMA is an awesome sport. There's going to be a lot to talk about in this 30-minute podcast. We're going to film some more content outside of this. But Julian, I want you to go ahead. Let's assume the audience maybe doesn't know you, which I would assume most of them do. Can you tell us about your childhood, your background?
And for some of you guys that don't know me, I was born and raised in Kansas City, Missouri, middle of the map, heart of America. Get it how you live it. You're going to love it. And I'll let you guys know, I grew up Cuban American. I grew up in Holt, Missouri, and Kansas City. My parents were split, and I got to spend time with two different sides of the world. I got to spend time with a Cuban heritage, and I got to spend time with, like, you know, the country back roads people, and that's like my mom's side of the family is wild. But I got to see the world in two different eyes, you know, in two different like aspects, and knowing and seeing the struggle of how my family came over from Cuba and had to like fight to get a single dollar on their table to buy their homes, to bring their family over from Cuba and to start a life. I got to see that, where I also saw the luxury of what my mom already had it. She doesn't have to deal with the racism that my family on that side had to deal with, or the opportunities with jobs. Like, you know, there's a lot, it was an easier road. So I got to see both sides, and that helped push me to gather my lifestyle and help propel my career in wrestling and MMA and just about anything I do. And it made me who I am today.
Yeah, that's awesome. So for those who don't know, we met. I got the opportunity to train you for a month with strength and conditioning.
Grindr.
Yeah, we met on Grindr.
We met on Grindr. We swiped right, and since then it's been a funny friendship.
Yeah,
sure.
He was subscribed to my OnlyFans before they banned porn, so I had to stop my account on there. But and you know, I got an opportunity to train him for a month and get to know him and build a relationship, and I was very grateful for that. But I have a lot of questions, but I really want to know, as a fighter, I listen to a lot of podcasts with fighters and guests and stuff, and it seems like the way that people come into being a fighter and deciding, hey, I actually want to do this and I think I'm good. Like, how did that happen for you? Were you getting in fights in school? Were you just like intrigued by the sport? Like, how'd you find out about the UFC?
Man, me and my dad used to watch like Pride back in the like early 90s, and we'd watch all the like Tank Abbott, we watched Gracie's, we watched them all, you know, and like Art Jimerson coming out with the one glove, seeing that, and you know, it's just something that my dad and I had, and like together we'd always watch it. My brother would do sports and watch other sports with my dad, but there's that one sport, it was like something we could sit there and watch hours. My dad would love to express his like opinions about it and how like crazy it was in the times. You're seeing people get soccer kicked, and you know, it's a fighting sport, and we loved boxing as well. We'd have big parties of boxing. So like I've always had the interest in it. It's just going into it in MMA was more of like a fail story. When it wasn't a fail story, it's like when one door closes, another door opens. I got kicked out of college for being a fucking asshole, and legitimately, like, I'm a very pacifist type person. I don't fight. I'm not that person. That's not me. If you knew me back in high school, I was a troublemaker. I was just a bad kid.
You class clown?
Yeah, I was a class clown. I was everything.
Yeah.
I've got 29 days of OSS in high school. I got kicked out for some dumb shit. Hacking the school computers, changing the grades, bringing an airsoft gun to the school, shooting people up. Like, it was pretty fucked up. Like, I was a pretty bad kid. And, I went to college, got in a fight, got kicked out of college, was kind of lost, was working 4 jobs, everything like that. And I would watch Anderson Silva. And at the time, do you remember that pre-workout called Jacked 3D?
Oh, yeah.
It's not even Jacked 3D. It's just called Jacked. I thought the 3D.
Back when they had original formula.
Yeah, with original formula with meth in it. So
Yeah,
I was methed
essentially
out.
meth.
I was methed out after the fucking bars and lifting. And I would always look up at the TV and just see Anderson Silva. And I'm pacing geeked out of my mind and just having a great lift to the point where I was like, fuck that dude up. I can beat him. I can beat him. And one day I was I didn't have work that day. It was off. I was sitting at home. I had a buddy just hit me up. I was like, yo. He's like, what are you doing? I said, I'm sitting at home. He's like, I'm outside your house. You're coming with me. I was like, for what? He goes, this MMA gym's looking for wrestlers. It was called K2L Grindhouse here in Lee Summit a long time ago. And I was like, okay. He's like, get out here. I just hopped in the car and that was my first practice. And that's where it was when you wrestled in college and you wrestled, you don't have an ending. There's no outside football.
Olympics, is that the ending for wrestling?
That would be the ending. And you have to be somebody real good to go there.
Who's I feel bad. Who's the guy who won the Olympics? They're trying to get him to come do MMA.
Gabe Stevenson?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a savage, man.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That kid could definitely cause a lot of ruckus in that kid's.
What weight class?
He'd be heavyweight. He's a heavyweight for sure. 265, but that dude's been doing it for so long to where to me Olympics were not an option. It never was an option for me. Those guys have been doing it since they've got out of the womb. They've been wrestling.
When did you start? High school?
I started 8th grade.
Okay.
7th, 8th grade.
Did you really like it? Was that your favorite sport?
Yeah, just the combat. I don't like having to rely on somebody else.
Yeah. It's mano a mano.
Yeah, it's in football, man, there's a lot of times I hated the fact that you would do the best game you ever had in football and then
lose.
Yeah, and someone some asshole just decided to do something not even part of the play and they fuck up. And I get it, there's fuck ups, but your whole team gets yelled at and you get yelled at because you didn't make sure that guy's dude, I get it, but it's just if I'm out there in the wrestling match, my coach can tell me what to do, my friends can tell me what to do, but it's me out there. It's the most colossal feeling. There's nothing more. There's not 20 people on there. There's no one there. If you win, you won by yourself. If you lose by yourself. If you make a mistake, it's you. You have to learn on the fly. It's the only sport in this world where it's only you.
Well, I think anytime that you're in a situation where truly you're in control, you could say in that situation, in that sport, I'm in control. And that usually brings out the best in me in situations, and I think a lot of people. So you said something really interesting, though, that I want to dissect. You said when you would take the pre-workout, go to the bars, and see it on television and think, I'd beat that dude's ass. I think that's something that is instinctual in a lot of men and a lot of UFC fans, and I say this just because everyone catches themselves feeling that, but, some of my friends say that. I know people are saying that, man, it's easy to critique these fighters and it's easy to believe that you could do it, but it's one thing to sit there and say that, and literally if they were to get in a street fight, they don't know how they would fight the guy. But then, too, to go and do it, I mean, was there, a resistance to that? Okay, well, I'm actually going to take the step to actually go do this. I'm going to try to prove myself right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, it was more of look, dude, when you were on Jack, and that thing, dude, I'll never forget, dude. I worked out so hard. I want to say I did 300 reps of bench, just various different types. I would make these stupid ass workouts to the point where my triceps were bruised from how much I worked out, and you had no feeling. So when I would have those thoughts, it would be you were on top of the world. You're on fucking meth. They banned it because
DMAA is the ingredient.
Yeah.
Dimethyl something. But no, yeah. I mean,
it's fucking
it's
meth.
A drug.
It's a drug. Dude, I was literally, I definitely would have failed a USADA test had that been around in this day. And I was so geeked out of my mind. You would think you could do anything. I thought I could lift cars. I thought I could fucking just run through walls. And so when I would look at Anderson Silva fighting, I was like, yeah, I could fuck that dude up. Now, deep down inside, when I was that age, I absolutely believe that.
It was in college.
But looking back now, I was like, dude, yeah, I was in college. I would got fucking destroyed by that dude.
Yeah.
Like looking back, like what I know now and what I know then, like the Julian back then is a tough guy and the Julian now is a tough guy, but like I'm way more trained and know where to go in positions. Whereas like that dude would have mauled me in like a heartbeat.
The other thing with fighting that's so interesting is you have to, I feel like you have to have an ego to be able to do it, but at some point in your career, even at a practice, even probably every day, you're going to experience a loss in a grapple session or in a striking session. Like, did you have when you first got in there? Like, I feel like when I say when people say there's levels to this shit, at one point with the people you're training with or the gym you're at, you were probably establish yourself as the man. And then you tap into that next level of competition, and then people are humbled, and then you get better from that, being around better people. Like, how did you end up at Glory with James Krause and being surrounded by just this team that is high level?
I grew up in this city, in Kansas City, and I started my career in Kansas City, and I left to go pursue on my own, and it was doing great. And then I tore my lat out and everything, and had to make a comeback, and I didn't have the guidance that I needed. And you know, my little nephew was being born around the time pandemic happened. I came back home to be there with him. I couldn't be in Vegas because nowhere would train. Like, the laws and restrictions were so tight that you couldn't be anybody in a gym. And I got kicked out of a park for being 5 people at the park when we were rolling jiu-jitsu. We got kicked out because there's too many people in that area, in a fucking park. So it just lets you know, like, I had nowhere to train. And I came back to Kansas City, and I started I asked James, I was like, hey, man, I need a place to go. I need a place to come back. And
you obviously knew James before that.
Yeah, I do. I've known James for a long time. And, you know, we've had a rough start with each other. And, you know, we'd go back and forth. We had different mindsets. We had the same goal but different mindsets. But we didn't know how to – we weren't mature enough on both sides to understand the other side, if that makes sense. And, you know – now that, just fast forward to now when I went back to him and I talked to him, like, he thought the same Julian back then. I thought the same James back then. Yeah. It's like, that's all we do. Like, you only remember the last of somebody. You don't know what they are now. They don't know if they changed. And we both like, I was like, fuck, I have to do what he says because he's in charge. You know what I mean? I'm coming to him for help. And he's like, dude, I don't fucking need you. I don't even like you. Like, he's like, if you fuck up, you're gone. Like, it legitimately, he put me on, like, the most asshole. And if you ever have a conversation, he put me on the most asshole, like, schedule. And, like, it was like, if you're a minute late, you're gone. If you don't push forth the effort, you're gone. If I see you slacking, you're gone. If you fucking drink the wrong energy drink, you're gone. It's basically, like, everything he was telling me. And he's like, I don't need you. Like,
yeah.
I was like, all right. So came back, and I during the 2 week, he gave me a 2 week trial with him. And like during that 2 weeks, he was like, okay. He's like, he saw me doing the work. And there's times where like he beat the fucking shit out of me. Where he would just, he didn't want to, it wasn't about winning at that point. It wasn't about doing technique. We were in there in that 2 week trial. He was trying to make me fold. Because it's like, man, if he's like, I want you to not be here, and there's a point in time in the gym, the culture that he has, like, you're either going to excel or you're going to vanish in that gym. It's not for everybody. It's tough. It's hard work, and you show up there, and now everybody's accepted, but you have to know, like, it's a battle no matter what. And you go in there, if you go in there on a full camp, a full year of training, you go in there, they're going to train to be the best, and everything's a battle, and they're going to try to break you. And if they can break you, they want to grow you on that. It's like there's a point where you don't want to do it anymore, and they try to build you up from that, and it's your choice.
Well, in my perspective, it's been really cool to see. Like, I knew who James Krause was. I didn't know that much about him, but since we started training the fighters here at AMP, you know, I've been to some of those FAC fights, and man, 99% of the time, those Glory dudes are just different. And, you know, they have James in the corner, and it just shows. Like, you see this culture that he's built there, and every fighter I've talked to just – they're so bought into what they do, and obviously it produces results. I think it's freaking, as a coach, very inspiring what he does, and your guys' respect for him is just awesome to see. And he's in the trenches too, which is very unique, especially in the MMA world. I think isn't he the only active fighting coach?
No, active fighting coach. Well, I mean,
I don't know. I feel like
it's very hard to say there's an active fighting coach like in the UFC for sure, but like. There's no one like him. He's a different animal. He's a dude. In all honesty, he's a nerd, man. Yeah. He's a complete like the most craziest thing like you would think as a nerd. Like if it's mathematics, this person, you know, that person that knows anything about math, they can do it all in their head, or they know anything about the universe and science. Like he's, I don't want to say he's like a Stephen Hawking's of MMA because they're just like fucked up. But he's like his IQ in the game and his investment in the game. There's so much more he does, not on the physical side, but on the mental side with all of his athletes and with just the studying of fights. Like his understanding of the game and his understanding of how it works is far beyond any other coach. You know, you can have a coach look at what he does and try to implement the same thing, and they won't have it because there's details, there's micro movements, there's micro thoughts, there's micro placements that he knows from actually putting in the time. And that's one reason why I ride with him, is because I've seen what he does. You know, like a lot of coaches charge you 10% of your purse. And this is one big thing, and a lot of fighters like don't like doing that. Like if you think about it in your company, like, hey, if I start a company up and I'm paying you out, I'm paying you 10%, like, dude, you're an employee. I'm not going to give you 10% of my company. That's a fuck ton of money. Yeah. You know, so in fighting, it's a fuck ton of money. 10% is huge, and then you got tax and everything. So you're just like, why am I paying 10%? And throughout all of my career, I've worked with coaches like, dude, 10% is a lot. This is the only time where I understand why I'm paying 10%. I was like, oh shit, I get this. Like, I see what you're doing for 10%, and it literally is. He's on the trenches with me, along the side with me in my whole camp, with that weight cut, that prepping. We're working out all the time, every day. Like he literally is in the fight with me. He's damn near throwing the punches too. Yeah, you know, legitimately, and that's why we're being so successful where we're at today.
Well, you said something earlier. You said it really quick, like it was no big deal. But I actually think the probably most impressive thing about you is you tore your fucking lat, and that's such a rare fucking injury. So to kind of catch everyone up, you fought your amateur fights, 13. Wikipedia is wrong, so fucking get your shit together. I don't know how to go in and edit, but fix that amateur record. You're killing it, and then you had a Bellator fight, which I didn't know that. Was that your path to UFC? Was it your first? Or you were on the Contender Series, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
So you won that, and you get the contract. When did the lat tear happen?
I had my first fight in the UFC. I won the Contender Series in 2017. 2017, December 16th, I took my first UFC fight against Darren Stewart. And then in 2018, July 6th, in the middle of a Alessi DiCirico fight, in like the first round, I threw my right hand, and it felt like a rubber band. Just snapped.
Did the doctor stop?
No, we finished the fight.
Holy
shit. I fought
shit.
the whole fight with it.
And that, is your adrenaline, like, I mean, that's an injury. I don't care how much adrenaline you have. You're going to feel it. But, like, I mean, after the adrenaline went down, were you in excruciating pain?
It shit hurt.
You go straight to the hospital?
Hurt. No, I didn't, actually. I didn't.
So,
it was like, I didn't want to be in the hospital for that long.
Yeah.
And, like, dude, I don't think you understand. Like, after a fight, if you go to the hospital after a fight, dude, I don't know what it is, but the time literally, it goes by so slow. Literally, you'll be in there for like 7 hours.
Because you're thinking probably just replaying everything.
Dude, but it just I don't like being cooped up. I like want to do my own thing. So I just kept a sling on and did my own stuff, and then went to California that Monday. I drove out to California that Monday to go get it looked at, and like the doctor, I went to they like have a high-end MRI scanner. And he came back and goes, hey, man, he He goes, hey, you need to get into surgery now. And I was like, oh, for what? He goes, your lat is detached.
Was your right hand?
Yeah, my right hand. He's like, your lat's detached. I was like, what does that mean? I was like, so is my shoulder good? I thought I tore my shoulder.
Yeah.
He's like, no, dude, your lat is not on the bone.
Yeah.
I was like,
okay.
And
that's shoulder function. I mean, everything with your shoulder.
It's huge, but like the thing is, one of the like scariest deals for an MMA athlete is shoulder surgery.
Yeah.
It's so hard to come back from a shoulder surgery, and it's so hard to deal with shoulder surgeries. But those are the most prime injuries of an MMA athlete.
Yeah.
Like if you look at all of them, a lot of athletes have MMA fighters have jacked up shoulders, and having a surgery to come back on it changes you. I mean, if you look at the surgery when who's old boy that hit the flying knee on Misha Serkinov? Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker, you remember when he hit the flying knee on Misha Serkinov, fell down, hit his shoulder, and he tore his shoulder, and they had to get surgery on it. So he did surgery on his shoulder. He came back, and he hasn't looked the same since. His arm doesn't work the way it's supposed to. It's just limitation. So it's like a big fear to stay away from that.
It's usually one of two things. So shoulder surgery has been took up a huge part of my life. It ended my career really because I chose it to. It was kind of just the way it ended for me. But I tore my left labrum. It was dislocating, so I had surgery. My right one at the time, my rotator cuff and labrum had a micro tear. It wasn't off the bone completely. And my parents were pretty much like, all right, you got to get the surgery at the end of the year because we met our deductible, or else if you choose not to get it, you're on your own. You're going to pay for the surgery. So I recovered from this one. I was going to have to get it right after. It was 4.5, 5 months recovery. At that point, I was like, fuck, I'm not going to do this to go play. I don't want to go through another 4.5, 5 months. I just didn't want to. So, in college, I couldn't afford it. It got really bad. I wasn't taking care of it to the point where I was like, fuck, I wish I would have done the surgery. It was like $9,000. I couldn't afford that. So it forced me. It was a big reason I became obsessed with just biomechanics, the body, learning the functions of the shoulder joint, all that stuff. And I completely rehabbed I have the MRI. It's still torn, but it feels better than the one I had surgery on. And for anyone who doesn't know, these fighters who have shoulder surgeries, they are turning their shoulder. You got to have a lot of stability for that. So it's a lot of wear and tear over and over with those strikes that I experienced it with baseball. I was a pitcher. As my shoulder kept deteriorating, my velocity was going down on the mound. You really can't avoid that. And I think when I started training you, knowing that it was your lat, I assumed that maybe your overhead mobility and your stability on the shoulder was going to be limited. But whoever you did your rehab through, or you did perfect. It seems to be doing really well.
Shit, I went through fucking hell.
Dude, it sucks, man.
It was 31 months. It took 31 months for the thing to come back to normal, and it's a long time. But it's way easier because it wasn't any of the tendons in the shoulder itself. So the rotator cuff was fine. The labrum was fine. The bursa sac in there was attacked. So moving that around isn't as bad.
Yeah.
Whereas if I had surgery, it would have been tighter. I'd had to break through a lot of stuff. The only thing that I was really affected by was that since I severed the tendon completely off where I had to anchor it in, I had to do 2 surgeries, but they I developed this thing called adhesive capsulitis, which is, in the lamest terms, is frozen shoulder. So it's the same thing as two pieces of chicken you left in the freezer that are stuck together, trying to pry that out.
Yeah.
You can run hot water over it, and it's still hard to break it apart. It could thaw out in 10 minutes. It could thaw out in 10 days, or it can thaw out for the chicken. But the shoulder, same thing. It thaw out in a week, or it can take 31 months to thaw out. And literally it happened in one day. We were struggling. I had limited range. I couldn't even grab the cereal box on top of the fridge with my right arm. I did everything with my left. I couldn't lift it up. And
everything?
Everything. I could not lift my hand up. I couldn't lift it up beyond my shoulder level.
So this is perfect. You made your return UFC 258.
Yeah, UFC 258.
And that was earlier this year. That was, I knew who you were because Saul had been over there filming. I watched this. It was a big card. Fuck. I mean, that was
Kamaru Usman and
it was Usman and Burns. And
I stole that fucking show.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about this, man. I mean, you're coming out there. I was just super pumped to see at least some guy in the UFC, the big stage, and there was no crowd there, right? That was your crowd?
No, there's no crowd.
Which I kind of thought was pretty mesmerizing, like hearing everything. But you come out, that dude was that was just competitive fight, and your cardiovascular system is at your size, at your style of fighting, which is just pressure. It's unbelievable. Like I was very just like impressed, and you got fight of the night. What's the difference between performance of the night and fight of the night?
So fight of the night is the entire fight was the fight of the entire card. And performance is like you go out there and it's just only one person gets it. And I got performance of the night.
That was performance of the night.
So the performance of the night is like you put on a hell of a performance. You could have got a knockout. You could have got a submission. Usually a fight of the night is a fight that is so close, super entertaining, gets everybody on the side of the edge of their seats. You're like, yeah. And then performance of the night is when you see someone sleep another person or comeback win,
gotcha.
or guillotine or whatever it may be.
And I don't know how you view that fight. I don't even know if I would say it was a comeback. It was just you weren't going to let that fight go the distance, and you ended up. I mean, like. You were going to outlast this guy. This guy was tough. You were going to outlast him with your pressure and your cardio, and you saw an opening. Well, you guys were on the ground, I believe, and you got a rear naked choke. Was that a rear naked choke? Anaconda choke. And, I mean, that post-interview, that was like viral. Miley Cyrus, she fucking tweeted you. I mean, did you see this happening this way? Did you know it was going to be that tough of a battle? Did you see you ending it? Like,
I couldn't tell you, after 31 months off, like, I don't believe in ring rust, but I do believe in the fact that like knowing the feel of the cage. You know what I mean? Like being in there. Like had we started off a little bit slower, it would probably have been better for me. But Maki had a great game plan. Hey man, this guy's been out for 31 months. You need to shoot right across there. Put him against the cage, and then go for the takedown as fast as possible. Everyone, like, no one thought they were going to take me down. We didn't think we had a wrestler or a striker turn into a grappler. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? It's what happened there, and I was just like, oh, I didn't remember. I was against the cage. I was like, oh shit, like where the fuck am I? Like, I actually went in for a takedown and I fell down and to my knee, get up, and he ends up taking me down. And the whole time I never was out of that fight. Like I know I could win. I was just trying to figure out. What I'm doing.
Well, still though, that's like the ultimate adversity in fighting. I feel like when the game plan or the circumstances aren't what you expected. So like. Obviously, someone like James Krause comes in huge with his coaching, but like you're the one out there doing it. Like, does time slow down in those moments, or are you able, or is it an adrenaline thing? Like for you at your level, what do you feel like allows you to like, okay, this is what I'm going to do?
Man,
reaction.
You don't have time to think.
Yeah, I mean,
so it's just when you're in those type of situations, like when you're thinking, you're behind, and in there, like just your preparation through the training and the years of just repetitive discipline of what you're doing, if it's striking, grappling, and there it naturally just happens. And having Krause in there telling me like you need to go, like feeling the urgency from him between 2 and 3, feeling that definitely I understood I was down, I was losing, and I knew I was losing. I was like, there's no fucking way I'm losing. 31 months. This guy's fought 5 times in 1 year, and I'm on 31 months of not even stepping foot in the octagon. Still trying to figure everything out, have a new style, have a new game plan, have a new gym. And it's just basically like he told me, let it go. Like, that's what I took out of him. Like, and that's what I did. When we went in there, and I ended up getting there's moves I hit in there, and when I got the submission, we drilled that submission probably, I couldn't tell you, few hundred times in camp that during that.
Yeah.
And everyone did. The whole gym did. We kept hitting that same one. We have not hit it since.
That's awesome.
But we hit that same one over and over to the point when I hit it, it was so fast, so smooth, and so effortlessly that I didn't even know I hit it.
Yeah.
To the point where you could see me freeze for a second, and you could hear James says, run your feet. And the moment I run my feet, Maki tapped. And it was because, like, I was so shocked that I was in that position.
Yeah.
I was so shocked that I landed that fast. Even though I knew I was in it, it's just it worked.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you can hear it on the deal, but I looked at him. I was like, holy shit, it fucking worked.
Yeah.
Because I was in shock at it, but that's just repetition that went through with that technique. And it literally felt like as if I was here to you. I just knew I had to do something to make sure I walked away with my hand raised versus, going home having a different podcast,
Did that fight, like, I don't want to say change your life, but was it a big,
It fucking changed my life.
Okay, did it?
Yeah,
I mean, after...
I was 31 months. I was fucking working at Topgolf. I was sitting there barely making ends meet, man. I was just struggling with like a civilian style job that wasn't me. I wasn't able to do what I love to do, what I trained majority of my life. I made it to the UFC, and I didn't want to just be that person that made it to the UFC and walked away from it, man. I worked fucking 5 jobs to get into the UFC, and I'm finally in the UFC, and I'm stuck at one that really doesn't give a fuck about you, doesn't care about your pay. Dude, they fired me. They fired me because I refused to go back during the pandemic when people were still getting sick, and they don't care about you, and I didn't like that.
Yeah.
Whereas the job that I'm in now, like I care more about the job. It doesn't matter if the UFC cares about you or not, and they all do care about you. But I'm saying it doesn't matter. But I love doing what I do.
Yeah.
Versus I was sitting there fucking unhappy for 31 months. So when I got in there and I won fucking $50,000 on that, I changed my fucking life. I had a new contract right before that, changed my fucking life. I
remember you telling me when we were training, I knew this was gonna happen. I saw it. That interview, seeing it in 4K camera, talking to Joe Rogan, you were so in the moment, and that I think everyone could tell. The Miley Cyrus call out. Can you say anything about that? That's the one thing I think everyone always talks about.
I was super fucking stoked about it. I called her out, man, and she hit me up, and that's pretty much how, as far as it went. I was like, will you be my Valentine? She's like, shave some shit in your chest. I said, you shave my name in your chest. And that's pretty much it. That's where it stopped.
Well, let's say we got about 6 minutes left in this podcast. There's a couple more things I want to talk about. It's just with the walkout song, too, because that's kind of where
I love her music.
What was this? Was it Party in the USA, or is it?
No, that was, it was Heart of Glass by Blondie. She did a cover remaster on it.
Gotcha.
That's what really started it all off. I walked out to her Wrecking Ball when I went out to I walked out to Wrecking Ball when I fought Phil Haas. I walked out to Katy Perry Dark Horse when I fought Darren Stewart. I walked out to Wrecking Ball when I fought DiChirico, and then I walked out to Heart of Glass covered by Miley. And then in my last fight, I walked out to Party in the USA.
Well, so this is perfect, because this is where I want to go. You see a guy's nickname, the Cuban Missile Crisis. He's got a beard. He is a big dude, looks like he should be a fighter, and he's walking out to Miley Cyrus. It's so unique, and I think something that is, I would say, challenging for UFC fighters and fighting in general is the aspect of you're your own promoter in a sense, and you got to build a personal brand. I think that's just it helps. I don't think you necessarily have to. The UFC itself is a promotion, but with social media nowadays, you seem to have a grip and you know what you're doing and you enjoy it, which I think is important too. So is that come into play with when you make these decisions, or are you just, I'm just going to be me, not much strategy behind it, but the fact that I fucking love making content, that's why I do it?
No, I mean, if you know me, that's me. If you know me for years, that's me. It's always been me. I'm always that person. There'll be one moment, everything just, you be serious, and all of a sudden, boom, we have some crazy shit happen. I say some stuff that you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And that's just me, man. I love music. Most people put you in a bubble of this is how this person's supposed to act. This is how this person looks like this, he's supposed to act. If this person's tattooed, has all piercings and everything, he should be a fucking drug addict. He came out of prison, XYZ, but next thing you know, he's a fucking accountant.
Yeah.
Or he's going to be a lawyer. It's when you look at someone, everybody prejudges you and thinks you are that person that they believe you should be.
Well, and a lot of people, I feel like, will do that just because they know how they're perceived. It was refreshing to see, you like that, and
no, that's exactly
it was something that was very refreshing. And but I want to know too. I mean, you met Kendra Lust. You started this podcast.
Yeah.
These are moves that I think are unique, and I think it's awesome. So I don't know if you want to say anything about the podcast.
Yeah, the podcast.
What's it about? I honestly have seen snippets, but I haven't listened to a full episode. Where can you find it?
Like, you could go on YouTube, Spotify, Apple podcast.
So you guys film it too?
Yeah, Beauty and the Beast podcast. We'll interview adult film stars, MMA fighters, accountants, all these different, variations of walks of life to find out their personality and find out cool, like, shit that you want to know.
And Kendra's a big fight fan. Like,
Yeah,
she's
she
in
loves
the
fighting.
industry.
Yeah, for sure. And, like, we're all fans of adult film. Like,
Yeah.
you've seen a couple of them, and it's, like, it's cool. So, like, there's questions I want to know about, like, these adult film stars or these MMA fighters that most people don't know. Like,
Yeah.
a general topic everyone always does when you have a podcast on, or you have, you ask them the same questions over and over and over and over, and it's like, man, most people want to know who they are. So, like, the same thing when it comes to an adult film star, like, you ask the same stuff. We're both the same exact kind of worker. Like, they work independently. They only get paid for their work. The same thing as us. We only get paid for our work. But we have lives outside. We have businesses outside. We have things we do that make us who we are. But we are, at the end of the day, we are entertainers. We entertain in a certain realm, and when we do perform our job and we do that, we entertain. So, like, knowing the background, and, like, it's cool knowing where they started, where they came from, but it's real cool to hear these people talk about, like, their business mindset and the way that they went and the route that they went and how they capitalize on this, and how, like, hey, tomorrow I'm going to retire. I can retire tomorrow and live the rest of my life as a king because I have all these things implemented. Like, everyone sits there like, oh, I'm an MMA fighter. You only think I'm going to only last this long, and I'll never have anything else, because that's what the past record has. Oh, I'm an adult film star.
What's that identity?
Yeah.
And a lot of people struggle with that, especially athletes.
No, it's like that. But, like, dude, there's adult film stars and MMA fighters that have websites out there that you use every day and you don't even realize it, and they were the people that invented it. And it's like, it's cool to listen to this on the podcast where you're like, oh shit, you invented that? You were part of that? Yeah, I was the money behind that. I was the one that put it there. It's like, so you're fucking set for life.
Yeah.
And it helped me start a business with the e-commerce. Went in there and, like, they're like, hey, you need to go into this, put you in ties there, and man, having online businesses is so much simple.
Yeah.
It's just,
you can monetize everything you're doing without having to
absolutely
spend more time in each individual one.
So, like, the podcast, when you listen to it, it's generally, you get to know that actor, actress, MMA fighter, account a little bit more, but you also get to understand, like, how they work and how they function business-wise, to where you could take that input and apply it into your regular life to help generate more income from your income. Now, I'm not saying you should go out there and fight or, have sex on camera, but those are definitely options to get you some more money. But they have other stuff that you can utilize with the money that you make. Even if you're working on a job, a 9-to-5 job that you make a little bit, they inform you what to do with little bits each month, which is good.
Well, I want to end this with some rapid fire questions. See if you can answer in 10 seconds or less.
10 seconds or less?
10 seconds or less. Hopefully they're good questions. I didn't write them down, but I think I have some good ones.
All right.
Okay. What is your favorite exercise to do in the gym? Weightlifting.
Weightlifting exercise?
Yeah.
Squats.
Okay. What's the one that you wish you might be better at?
Definitely deadlifts.
Deadlifts. Okay.
Deadlifts.
What's your favorite food? Cheat food, like, no cut,
cheese.
no camp. Cheese. What kind?
Dude, anything habanero, anything spicy. I do like Munster cheese. I do like Swiss. It's very difficult to go there. We can go truffle cheese. You can go on there. But, like, go to sharp cheddar. You got Cracker Barrel sharp cheddar.
Melting pot.
You need to hit Asiago as well. But, like, go to straight up would probably be like a cheddar, sharp cheddar. It doesn't matter where it's from. You just can't have that great value sharp cheddar, because that's like it's like pasteurized. Like, it's like, I don't know. It's like gross.
Peasant cheddar.
It's like, it's not sharp enough. It's not thick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what is best barbecue in KC?
Oh, fuck. That's a tough one. That's a real tough one. I'm always going to go Arthur Bryant's.
Okay.
I love Arthur Bryant's.
People sleep on that. I like Arthur Bryant's too.
But I'm an OG guy. Like, I started out there. Some people have Gates. Some people have Q39. But it doesn't matter where you eat barbecue in Kansas City. You're always going to have the best.
Favorite Chiefs player?
Favorite Chiefs player? Fuck, man. I would have to go, who really won me over when I was a kid would always be Derek Thomas. He's always going to be that, like, from there.
Classic.
If you're going
Legend.
current now, I'd have to go with Kelsey, man. Like, I've had a relationship with him for, like, I've known him for a long time, and He's a legit dude. Cool dude.
Favorite sport to watch, but UFC.
Disc golf.
Do you watch the UFC?
I do watch UFC every weekend. I'm gonna watch it tonight.
Well, some fighters say they don't. Okay.
Oh, I watch it every night, dog. I live off of it.
Back to disc golf. What do you think of Ben Askren?
Dude, Ben Askren's awesome. I actually was at his house.
Yeah.
He had an inaugural tournament, Pro-Am. We played with the best in the world, and I played with celebrities: Andrew Zimmer, Dylan Cease, the pitcher for the White Sox, which you can see I have that fucking KC hat. Dylan, I love you, but fuck your team. And then we had a lot of other people, but yeah, it's fucking awesome, dude.
5 more. Favorite movie?
Favorite movie, definitely would have to go with Nightmare Before Christmas. It's one of my favorite, or John Wick.
Okay. Favorite song?
Favorite song? Fuck. Dude, you're picking. You have. This is tough because you're picking.
Favorite song right now?
Like right now.
What do you listen to most?
I haven't listened. Dance Monkey is.
Dance Monkey. Okay.
Flying up, but it's so hard. You can't say. If you
It
say
is. It's a hard
movie,
question.
You can ask like genre. You're gonna ask like you can't just say what go-to. Use a go-to movie. That's what.
Don't hurt me. Sorry. I'm just kidding. Okay. Let's see. Favorite combo. I don't know if this gives away strategy.
Favorite combo
to throw.
The old fucking dick twist.
Dick twist.
Grab his dick and twist it.
Is that like street fighting stuff?
That is. I learned it off of TikTok.
Okay.
It's a very very viral
favorite platform to post on.
Favorite platform? Oh, definitely Instagram.
Okay. Last one. Let's go.
I suck at TikTok.
Yeah.
I'm not.
They banned the music from you.
Yeah, they banned the music. It's fucking terrible. I have to listen to elevator music every time. Like, and then on top of it too, it's just like, I'm not. I just don't have the appealing style for the age group in there, and I'm just not that type of person. They look at me and I'm like, this fucking bearded guy, get the hell out of here.
Last one. The one product you use that you believe in and you would promote it to the day you die.
Oh, dude, Microfactor with First Form.
Okay. Well, cool deal. This content's not over. We're going to go film some other content. Hopefully this isn't a bad decision, but I might get kicked in the nuts, the thigh, or the calf.
The old dick twist.
I might experience a dick twist.
You need to crop that saying that I just had. Just have it in your thing as like one of these like, I mean, all day.
Well, we might film a how-to with the dick twist move. I mean, I'd like to know
twist?
that. If it's arousing, fuck, I might be able to.
You can catch us on OnlyFans at the Double P Podcast with Julian Marquez and Austin. We're going to over here show you how to twist a dick just right to make sure you win the night.
Fuck, dude, that's sponsored. We're sponsoring and owning the dick twist. Okay, so subscribe to the podcast. Hope you like it. Hopefully it was still the most unpredictable and interesting podcast in the world. You can find it on all podcast platforms, The PP Show. You can follow Julian J. Marquez MMA on Instagram. It's the same everything.
185 on TikTok. If you guys have TikTok, you can follow me.
I think you should. I mean, you're posting on there. You're posting content.
I haven't posted in a while. I suck at it.
And go subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's where I'm going to put the rest of these videos that we're about to go film. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope we'll probably want you on again. So this was awesome. Let's give him a round of applause here. I will see you guys in the next episode.
Grab his dick and twist it.
What?
My phone.
Nice.
You missed a joke, Dad. It was perfect.
I know. I got the joke.